Most men I talk to over 40 think skipping the gym is just a lifestyle choice. Like it costs them some muscle tone, maybe a bit of energy, and that's about it. But after coaching men in this age group for years, I can tell you, the real cost goes way deeper than that. And most guys don't find out until the damage is already done. I'm Nick, and I've been coaching men over 40 for years. And the pattern I keep seeing is the same one. Guys who think skipping the gym is just a lifestyle choice, like it costs them some muscle tone and that's about it. But the real cost goes way deeper, and most men don't find out until the damage is already done. I had a client a few years back. Let's call him Dave. He was 44, busy with work, kids, all of it. He figured he'd get back to lifting when things calmed down. By 47, he was 30 pounds heavier, exhausted by 3 p.m. every day, and his doctor was talking to him about blood pressure meds. Dave didn't feel sick, he just felt like he was aging. But what was happening to him had a very specific cause, and it wasn't just time passing. So I'm going to walk you through the 5 biggest myths men over 40 believe about skipping weights, because these beliefs are exactly what kept Dave stuck, and they're probably doing the same to you. Myth 1. I'll just do cardio instead. This is the most common one. Guys give up lifting, swap it for running or cycling, and feel like they've made a healthy trade. Cardio is good for you, so it counts, right? The real biology. Here's what cardio doesn't do. It doesn't tell your body to hold on to muscle. After 40, your body naturally starts breaking down muscle tissue, about 1 to 2% per year. That process is called sarcopenia, and the main signal that slows it down is resistance training. Cardio doesn't send that signal. So if you're running 3 times a week but never touching weights, your body is still quietly losing muscle even while you feel like you're being active. The verdict: cardio and weights aren't interchangeable. They do completely different jobs. Cardio is good for your heart. Weights are what tell your body to stay structurally intact. And the muscle loss itself isn't even the worst part. It's what the muscle loss triggers next that most men never see coming. Myth 2. My testosterone is fine. I feel okay. A lot of men assume low testosterone is something that happens to other guys, the ones who feel terrible, who have obvious symptoms. If you're functioning okay, your hormones must be okay. The real biology: muscle mass and testosterone are directly connected. When your muscle drops, your body produces less testosterone, and testosterone after 40 is already declining on its own. That's completely normal. But when you remove the muscle-building stimulus on top of that natural decline, the drop accelerates. The sneaky part is that it happens gradually, so you adjust to each new normal. Less energy becomes your normal, softer body composition becomes your normal, lower drive becomes your normal. Most men don't realize their baseline shifted until something forces them to compare. The verdict: resistance training is one of the few things shown to naturally support testosterone production. Removing it doesn't just let your hormones coast, it actively removes the input your endocrine system depends on. So you've got muscle declining and hormones dropping, and that combination does something to your metabolism that makes everything worse. Myth 3. I just need to eat less. This one gets men in a really frustrating loop. The weight keeps creeping up, so they cut calories, and maybe they lose a bit, but it comes back, and nothing seems to stick, so they try cutting more. The real biology: muscle is metabolically active tissue, meaning your body burns calories just to maintain it, even at rest. The more muscle you have, the more your resting metabolism runs. When you lose muscle, your furnace gets smaller. The same meals you've been eating for years start producing different results, not because your diet changed, but because the engine that burns the fuel got smaller. And here's what makes it worse: eating less without resistance training often causes your body to burn muscle for energy, which shrinks the furnace further and makes the problem worse over time. The verdict: the metabolism problem isn't a food problem, it's a muscle problem. Cutting calories without addressing muscle loss is like trying to heat a bigger room with a smaller heater and wondering why you're still cold. Now we're halfway through, and I want to raise the stakes here because the next 2 myths are the ones that have actual long-term consequences most men don't think about until it's too late. Myth 4. Bone loss is a women's issue. Bone loss gets marketed almost entirely to women, so most men never think about their bone density at all. It feels like a non-issue. The real biology: men lose bone density after 40 too. The mechanism is the same. Without the mechanical stress of resistance training, the body doesn't get the signal to maintain bone structure. And bone loss, like muscle loss, is silent. You don't feel it happening. What you feel is the consequence of it years later, when a minor fall turns into a fracture, or when you start having back pain that doesn't go away because your spine is starting to compress. A broken hip at 70 has a higher one-year mortality rate than most people expect, and the men most at risk are the ones who spent their 40s and 50s treating bone health like someone else's problem. The verdict: lifting weights is one of the most effective ways to maintain bone density. The guys walking around strong and upright at 70 almost always built that foundation in their 40s and 50s. Which brings me to the last myth, and this one is the most dangerous because it's the one that sounds the most reasonable. Myth 5. I'll start when I have more time. Life is busy. Work, family, responsibilities. The gym feels optional compared to everything else. And the thinking is, I'll get to it eventually when things settle down. The real biology: the problem with this one is the compounding effect. Every year you wait, you're not just delaying the benefits, you're adding to the deficit. The muscle you lose in your 40s is harder to rebuild in your 50s. The hormonal environment in your 50s makes progress slower than it would have been in your 40s. And the man who waited until 58 to start is now rebuilding from a much deeper hole than the man who started at 43. Dave figured this out the hard way. When he finally started lifting again at 47, it took him the better part of 2 years to undo what 3 years of inactivity had done. The verdict: there's no version of later that's easier than now. The longer you wait, the more it costs to reopen. So, here's where I want to leave you, because different guys watching this are in different situations, and the action step isn't the same for everyone. If you're currently doing nothing, start with 2 days per week of resistance training. That's it. Body weight counts. A simple set of dumbbells at home counts. The goal right now is just to send the signal. Frequency matters more than intensity at the start. If you're doing cardio but no weights, keep the cardio. Add 1 or 2 resistance sessions per week on top of it. Focus on compound movements: squats, rows, presses. These hit the most muscle in the least time. If you used to lift and fell off, go lighter than you think you need to. Rebuilding the habit matters more than the weight on the bar. 3 weeks of consistent sessions will change how you feel. The motivation usually follows the action, not the other way around. Dave started back with a 30-minute session 3 days a week. Nothing dramatic. Within 3 months, his energy was up, the weight was moving in the right direction, and for the first time in years, he felt like he was building something again instead of just managing the decline. That's available to you too. The window isn't closed, but the longer you leave it, the more it costs to reopen.